I'm one of the co-authors of this resolution, Mr. Speaker, and MP Don Loong, the main proponent, and I met in Saudi Arabia under different circumstances. So we both went to Hajj in Saudi Arabia. And just to add to the facts, Mr. Speaker, with respect to the mechanism that was set up by the NCMF on vaccination, it has been established already earlier. So I have a question after this. It has been established that first, it was the NCMF who did the procurement of the vaccines. And vaccines pertain to a responsibility under the domain of public health, of which the competent agencies would include the Department of Health. And NCMF is not a health agency. Second, after procurement, in fact, because it is not a health agency and it does not have that competence nor authority to inject or vaccinate people, it has partnered and coordinated with the Bureau of Quarantine to do the vaccination. Well and good, but as established, the problem was in the process of doing the vaccination. So, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Proponent, MP Don Loong, in my experience in the vaccination for this year's Hajj, we were vaccinated a day before we left, before our flight to Manila, and then the flight to Saudi Arabia, to Medina specifically. So that's less than 24 hours before the flight. And we know that vaccination for meningococcal disease and the other one would require, even for COVID-19, if you're vaccinated, you're required to stay at home for 24 hours because there are some effects. These are not adverse effects, but this would normally occur after a vaccination. So you have, your immune system is down, so your body is developing the antibodies that would be produced through the vaccines, and so you need to rest. But that was not the case because, Mr. Speaker, as stated in the resolution, there was a problem with the mechanism. Not only were the vaccines late, but the vaccination itself was scheduled only in Zamboanga City for Basulta, plus the Zamboanga and Zamboanga Peninsula Hujaj, who were also lining up for the vaccination. And so it was delayed, and there was no time to rest first before going on a flight. So many of those who were vaccinated a day before their flights or 2 days before the flights to Saudi Arabia, their immune systems were actually compromised on the airplane in a long-haul flight, 9 to 10 hours of flight, those who went direct to Saudi Arabia. So, Mr. Speaker, I would like to just clarify from the proponent if he was able to learn from the Bureau of Quarantine if the NCMF is basing that mechanism of working with the BOQS through a contract with the BOQ, the Bureau of Quarantine, and second, if the terms and conditions within that contract stated those specific instructions where not only would the vaccines should be given a week before, for example, the flight, or even including a provision where the vaccines are made available to the Hujjaj in their places of residents, meaning in Basilan, in Sulu, and Tawi-Tawi? And would that contract include also a coordination, as mentioned by DSNEP Nabil Khan, with the local government units, because there are IPHOs, PHOs, and rural health doctors in every municipality in the barn that can do the vaccination or inoculation if only there was a coordination between the NCMF and the DOH, NCMF and the MOH, together with the BOQ. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, from my discussion with the head of the Bureau of Quarantine in Zamboanga, what he told me was that the NCMF simply informs them that the vaccine will arrive on this day, and then the pilgrims from Western Mindanao should have their vaccination on those dates. So the Bureau of Quarantine does not have, well, specifically the one in Zamboanga, did not have the coordination mechanisms or the, in fact, he was mentioning that protocols of ensuring the vaccine is sealed are not being followed. So he was saying that there should be better coordination between the Bureau of Quarantine and the NCMF so that this would not happen, because the Bureau of Quarantine in Zamboanga was also in danger of the anger of the pilgrims who were in his office by the hundreds, and who had traveled for quite far also. So from what I gathered in my discussion with him, there is no clear memorandum of agreement or a contract. From what I gathered from him, I think it's just maybe a simple coordination that the vaccine will arrive there, please administer. So it is for that reason that we have this resolution, so that they can really prepare memorandum of agreements, clearly defining the roles and responsibilities, and perhaps including, as what MP Nabil had mentioned, local government units that can also help.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As I said, I am one of the co-authors of this resolution, and I support this resolution along with other resolutions with respect to Hajj. I will be giving my privileged speech on the issue of the conduct of the Hajj for 2023 at the appropriate time within the week, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you.